Hello, Astroflower readers out there. This is going to be a collective reading for the equinox going through for the next sort of 3 months, right up to the summer solstice in the 21st of June. It's going to be a collective reading, and we're going to be pulling 3 different types of cards for each month. And we'll be doing a bit of clarification on it. We will be looking into a little bit in the general sort of chakras and stuff like that, see what's going on there. And the aura as well. It will be time-stamped, so you'll be able to flit and flirt between the lot. Thank you very much for being here and supporting this channel. Very nice. First things first, let's just get on. I want to have a look at the chakras. So let me just connect to the... There we go. And everything is there. Right. Okay, let's get into the chakras of... This is a general reading for everybody. This is for the human race, basically. Yeah, I think this is where we come into this logical revolution that I'm talking about, where logic will prevail. Let's hope. Logic will prevail going forward. It seems like the root chakra is it's decided. Everything's in place. There is a little bit of like a last step to be happening, and that might well come out later on in the year. Might even come out in sort of in the eclipses that are in October and November, and that period there. It's also the time that Pluto comes back into Capricorn, around about that sort of period. You'll be able to tell me exactly sort of what dates they are, but I think that's where it's sort of coming back in. Let's just get the... It is logical, and it's the message that comes out of this, that the root chakra here for everybody is, okay, the root chakra is just sort of turning around, sort of saying, no, don't be stupid. No, that's idiotic. That's what's coming out of it. It's really beautifully formed, beautifully shaped. There's no sort of disorganization in it. There's no loose bits hanging around. It's so smooth and absolutely beautiful. And it breathes over time like that. So it opens up things, adjusts things, or assesses things, and then it regroups and crystallize. And that's what it seems to be like here. It seems to have got to a stage here where the human race is just going to kind of say, no, that's illogical. That just does not process that idea. And I think this is going to be between people. So it's between you and your neighbor, or with the person down in the shop, or stuff like that. But it's also going to be between sort of the people and the governance, and then between the governance themselves. The governance themselves, actually, I think it's going to have they're tied into a logic that, they're all singing to the same tune. So obviously they've got their hymn sheet to follow. And that's what they're doing. And that's what's going to seem the most obviously illogical thing out of the whole next 3 months. And the general people will be kind of going, yeah. And there's some people sitting there listening to the song that these people are singing, and they're all kind of going, yeah, I like that. I like this tune. I like this tune. And they may well like this tune. They may well like that tune. But I think the majority of people just kind of look at it and eventually kind of go, no, that's really illogical. It's the actions are not going to be, you're not going to be able to fathom why people would make these decisions unless they're following a preconditioned hymn sheet, basically. So I think that's what the root chakra is, and I think people are going to dig in. It's going to be funny. It's going to be funny. What can we call it? Something to do with spring. We'll come up with a name. Something spring. If you think of an idea, put it down in the comments below. Let's go on to the sacrum here. The sacrum's going to be fully open, basically. It's inverted totally, and it's now now moving into, and this is where the logic comes. Okay, so logic comes from, okay, so if you imagine there's a sequence of lights, yeah, and you can see those lights going in an order like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and you can also get, you know, other tunes that go in there and everything like that, but you can recognize it, and that's where the logic comes from. It comes from a logical sort of progression of energy that flows through us, that helps us then to put that logic into the mental brain to process the information, and then we look at life and kind of go, yeah, that's logical, because it plays into the harmonics of our energy system. And this is the whole thing, is where it's the third eye and the throat chakra, right, are one chakra. Okay, so it's like, if you imagine, it's like a chakra like that. That's the solar plexus, goes like that. 2 trumpets, one in the front, one in the back. Actually, it goes like that because the back one is a lot smaller. Yeah, but if you imagine the third eye and the throat chakra, that back trumpet is bent over and pushed down the front. So in theory, it goes like that, like that. So it's actually only one chakra. So we only have 5 chakras. We're an animal. And animals only have 5 chakras. It's just the positioning of our chakras that gives us the perception of intelligence. And I say that very lightly, you know. I say that very lightly indeed. But yeah, so what's happening here, as we're going through pole shift, it appears that the throat and third eye chakra, which is like a vertical double. So you've got like that, yeah? Now the sacrum is in a shape that goes like that. I'll try and actually do some sort of video editing so you can actually see this as a line. It goes like that. That's for a male, and a female goes like that. Hang on a second. It goes up, down, up. Yeah, so there's a slight difference between the two. When it's completely activated, you end up with a 4, almost like Celtic knot, if you know what I mean, like a square sort of thing. Yeah. Now, normally I get it on both sides, left and right. And what's happening here is it's actually opening up and inverting. And as it inverts like that, you've got these two vertical cones that are coming up. So it's making the same position as what you would perceive for be the third eye and the throat chakra. We'll have a look at the third eye and the throat chakra afterwards. But this is now creating, because they're in alignment going up through your body, it's creating a logic that goes up. And it has a straight path. And this is what helps with the logic of energy, basically. And it's coming from the root chakra. It's flowing back, it's flowing up through that. It's also coming down to the root chakra through that. So it's a two-way street between the chakras. The actual meeting point, or the central point, is behind the sternum, between your heart chakra and your solar plexus, basically. That's where your energy joins to all energy that is around you. It's not in your heart chakra. Be far too dangerous. We know that when there's an impulse of energy into the system through the sun, and this has been studied by NASA, and this has been studied by a lot of scientists, and I think the results are in, and basically we get an increase of heart attacks or heart-related problems. There's many news items. You can go and have a look. I probably won't have the time to link them, but you can find them easily on the internet. So if you put the center of your connection to all energy in your heart, every time there was a fluctuation in the energy system, you're going to lose people very quickly. So energy is not stupid like that. And it wouldn't put its central point of energy into a highly emotional point of energy, which is your heart chakra. So it's actually between the two. It wouldn't put it in the solar plexus either, because that would cause sort of major problems for eating and stuff like that. But it also make us a little bit too aggressive. Let's put it that way. So it's between the two. And then basically when it comes in there, it splits off, goes up and down like that, creates that vertical energy, which is between the crown and the root, because the crown and the root is the same chakra. They're not different chakras, they're the same one. Just the front end and back end of it all. That's all it is. When you can see energy and when you can see chakras, all of a sudden it becomes so logical. It's like child's play. It really is. Because a child has to understand it as much as a tree has to understand it. Energy is very simple. You know, people dress it up into, got to bang drums and stuff like that in order to connect to energy. Hey, oh, you know, it's a lot of cinema. There's a lot of cinema out there, you know, and it's nice to watch. And yeah, it does get you going and everything like that. I'll be the first to say it, and I love doing it. But at the end of the day, if you really want to connect to energy, you don't need anything. I've got no crystals, no jewelry, nothing like that. Don't need it. So this is the logic that's coming through, basically. I think we're going to strip down a lot of things and kind of get back to kind of going, let's keep it simple. Take on the KISS theory, you know, and we can see this within the root chakra, the sacrum chakra. Yeah, it's almost becoming two chakras, like the third eye and the throat chakra. That's what's sort of happening there. Okay, so this is where I did a video on the fusing of the heart chakra and the solar plexus. Yeah, and this is all to do with pole shift. And it was if you imagine like the solar plexus is this trumpet that comes out like that. And then you've got the heart that's like a disc. It's flat like that. The trumpets are actually flattened on one another. Like what's those shells? Saint Jacques scallop or whatever. I think they're called scallops. Yeah. So if you imagine the solar plexus has gradually opened up like that, so it's become flat like what the heart was, and it seems to be now moving into that phase of being exactly what the heart is. So, what's that old phrase? The way to a man's heart is through his stomach. You know, we might find that we become a little bit more animal. That could well be the future of the human race. It'd be really funny. We'll do a reading on that at some point. The future of the human race. So yeah, the solar plexus here is it's nice. It's still fiery. It's still got the same attributes as a solar plexus. It's like taking a light bulb that you put in the thing. So it's a light bulb. And then you've got a strip light. They're still light bulbs, both of them, but they look completely different. But they do exactly the same thing. And this is what's happening here. So it's been interesting to sort of see. Okay, so it's as if the solar plexus, like a determination within the human beings. This is what's coming through here. It's a determination that that human beings are setting these limits almost around them, as if to sort of say, "Don't you come in my space and you'll find the animal within," sort of scenario. And I think this is first things first. It plays into hand in hand with the logic of the situation. But it also plays hand in hand with the animal side as well. You know, because animals are like that as well. They, you know, humans use their hearts. Normally, the heart is the biggest chakra in space. Yeah, it's like taking a litre of water and putting it over a very large space. It's going to be a very thin layer of water, and then you've got a smaller space. Still a litre of water, so then you're going to have a lot more, thicker. And that's how chakras work. There's no more energy in either chakra. It's all pretty much the same. It does fluctuate, you know, and that's what makes the music of energy. But, yeah, so, you know, it's normally the heart chakra of the human being would go out and touch the other person's energy, and that's how we feel the other person. And now we're going to start feeling it with the solar plexus. That is going to be very interesting. this is where the complications we could find on the global stage, where people might get like that. All right, that'll do, dogs. Thank you, Mama. Thank you. Yeah, so it's going to be, it might get on the global stage where this is where people are going to turn around and kind of go, man, this is illogical. We're standing around two kids fighting in a playground, and everybody who's watching this, of people fight these two kids, these kids that we've given over power are fighting, and we're going, fight, 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 which seems completely ludicrous, really. It's madness. That's what it is. So the illogical side of life will just kind of become so evident to everybody, kind of going, this is just, why are people standing around encouraging two people to fight? That's what the global stage is going to be doing. They're going to be encouraging you to join in this madness, because the more people that join in the madness, the more it becomes normal. And I think this is where the solar plexus, now it's going to become larger, is almost the majority of people are going to kind of go, step back from that crowd of people just encouraging two people to fight and say, no, you people are mad. Stop it. Bye. Oh, look, what's going over here? And people will just wander off. And they will find that warm community factor with the general people that are around them and nothing to do with the governance. That's going to be really interesting. And this is governance on all sense. This is governance through democratic sort of situations, or political sort of situations, but it's also to do with big business as well. It's also to do with religion as well. It's all forms of rigid, massive governance. That's what it's all to do with. Obviously, the majority of people, if you would look around you, the majority of people would probably turn around and sort of say, no, that's not a good idea to punch that other person. It's not a good idea. Don't do it. And that's what would be called like common law. Because generally, everybody knows that you just don't do that. It's like you just don't take things from other people without them, without their consent. That's stealing, sort of thing. Although we own nothing, we do own nothing. Everything goes back to the earth at some point. Your telephone, my telephone, your body, my body, your house, my house. Everything goes back to the earth at some point. No one's getting away. No physical things getting away. That's what we leave behind. Okay? So the solar plexus is coming really, it's very active, which is nice. So then that means people are going to be actively trying to encourage collections of logical ways of living, basically, by the looks of things. Once people get into that, then they realise I do need to eat. I need to keep my house heated if it's during winter and stuff like that. I don't want to pollute the waters. And it just becomes very logical. It just becomes incredibly natural to live. And then all of a sudden people start helping each other out. And that's when we get the alternative. Okay? And I think that alternative is going to come out at the beginning of next year. We're looking at literally about this time next year, 2024. Okay? That's what appears to be happening to the energy. Okay? Let's go in to have a look at the heart chakra. Now, the heart chakra is taking over. That's really weird. I've just realised something about the root chakra as well now. We'll go back. I'll come back to that in a minute. Don't let me forget. The heart chakra, I've been noticing this in a lot of signs in the weekly readings, where it's funneling up, and I've been calling it like that marker that you put on Google Map, which is a circle with a point at the bottom of it. It's been looking like that. And going towards, and I've been encouraging people to go towards your heart's desires. Now, there's a great difference between essential desires, which we find in the sacrum, and the heart's desires, which we find in the heart. People following the heart's desires. So the fundamental desires is I want to eat, I'm hungry, and the heart's desires is what would I like to eat. And that's when you start marrying things together. Then that's what the logic's all about. And then you sort of gradually goes up there, gets back up into your brain, and your brain turns on and kind of goes, okay, Tom wants cheese on toast. Let's follow the logical process of making cheese on toast. That's what's sort of happening. Now, when we look at the heart is really lovely. It's this beautiful, I don't know if you've seen the Trumpet de la Mort. Well, it's called the Trumpet of Death, but I don't associate it with death like that, but it looks like that. If you've ever been foraging for mushrooms and stuff like that, brilliant. I love doing it. Trumpet de la Mort. But here it's really beautiful. It's really light. There's a mixture of blues and greens in it that's absolutely gorgeous, and a lot more whiteness as well. And it's coming to the surface, so it's slightly smaller than the solar plexus is now sitting out above it like that, and the heart is sort of sitting out like that on top of it. So it's like a disc that goes around it, and it's like the disc is reading the record player. That's what it's like. So here it's got a lot going up on the top, and I think this has to do with this white light, or this white aspect of it all in regards to energy, is a very harmonious energy. And this is where we get into the white magic against the black magic and stuff like that. If you're into that sort of thing, grow up. Get past it all. I understand that there is fights in the energetic world, but it's those two kids in the playground. And if you're standing around encouraging that, fighting good against evil and stuff like that, good and evil is only a perception that you create. That is all. So it's a totally human thing. It's not natural. So just pull out of that sort of like thing. The more the people pull out of it, we can concentrate our energies on amazing things. So that's my little gripe for the bit. Right, let's get back to the heart chakra. There's a lot of white in there, and this white is the harmonious aspect of all the colours of spectrum of light. And also the black is the absence of that spectrum of light. So it's the pureness of light because it's black, and it's the pureness of light because it's white. Both sides are totally pure. Whether you associate good and bad and stuff like that is your own thing. I don't believe in good and bad. I know it doesn't exist in reality. It's just a notion made up to control people. Okay? So you know what is instinctively what you should do. And that is what we're talking about here. Common law. So the white part of this chakra is almost harmonizing into a point of view, or a way of being, or an emotional interaction with the people that are around us, that is dictating that solar plexus, which is going to define the limits of ourselves, and it's going to fuel those passions for that limit, and that's going to fuel that interaction with the world around us. That's what it seems to be like. Let's get onto the third eye and the throat chakra. Okay, so this is moving quite a lot. It's not quite there. I think the sacrum is putting into place the logic, and it's gradually we've got to flip our idea of what this is all about. we've led to believe that logic is the madness that we see on certain certain TikToks and etc. And all the channels, and even within the world around us, the logic has been totally thrown on its head. So the logic is now coming from the root of everything. And as it comes through the root of everything, it's going to give it a very ordinated and give a certain ordinance to the energy flow. And I think this is it flipping here. And I think this is where, as I said, I reckon this will be completely flipped in November, December, around that sort of period, around those eclipses and stuff like that. Let's just see if we can get some more out of that. How does that go through then? Oh, it goes, and when's that going to flip? Because obviously as it goes through, it goes round itself because it's turning. And I want to know if it's going to flip into place. Yeah, you're talking 24, 25. I think the total flip's going to be going. That's going to be quite interesting. So that has to do with pole shift energy, basically. And that's when the logic revolution will be complete. So yeah, let's just see if there's anything. Psychosis. And this is where, singing to that hymn sheet that I'm talking about, gathering around those people fighting in the playground and encouraging them to fight. It's going to create a lot of psychosis for people, and unfortunately there's going to be some let's say collateral damage in a way. There's going to be fallout from this, and those people are going to need help. They're just going to need help living more than anything else. This is what we talk about, a time of zombies and everything like that. The rich will come poor, the poor will become rich. The last will be first, the first will be last. You know all of that stuff? So this is what's happening here. The flip is happening. It takes time. It takes time. But it's going to happen it's going to be noticeable. Very, very noticeable. That's what seems to be happening here. And it does create a confusion. As I say, a psychosis where you can no longer recognize what is naturally normal, logical, and what is not. That is what psychosis is. And repeating the same thing, expecting a different result. And, it's a true definition of, it's a definition of madness. And I think this is what's going to be happening to a lot of people, where they're just not going to get it, and they're going to need help. They're going to need help because they could actually be quite volatile within the community, which is the human race, or the nature itself, So let's just see what's going on the crown chakra. Okay, that seems to be going very straight. It's almost reflecting the root chakra, and this is what I said earlier on. I think there's an inversion of this. It's like the root chakra is normally like a carrot that goes down like that. And you've got one on one side, one on the other. You've got two sort of carrots that go down. It's split into two around by the, what's it called? The little bone of by the bottom of the sacrum. I forgot what it's called. Anyway, coccyx. There you go. It's where the coccyx sort of like, it pulls on the thread like that, and it makes two energy flows like that, and it pulls it, tightens it, weakens it, and everything like that. That's what happens, and you can control it like that, your energy, to a certain degree. Okay, and what's happening here is that crown chakra here is going straight. There is, and this will be the last one to do. And that's what's probably going to come in through 24, 25. And it will eventually do 2 cones going out like that. And the root chakra will be 1. Now that's going to, obviously, that's might well be one of the reasons why we see a lot of bipolar problems, autistic reasons and everything like that. There's a lot of autism. Autism is also, you know, I've got a thing on the energy of autism as well. But anyway, let's stick to the program, as it were. Yeah. So it's not there. It's not really. There's a divot there on the front, and let's go around the back, and there's a divot on the back as well. So it appears to be happening, but it's a long way off. So you know, this is where the logic will come through, and it will play into one consciousness of one logic, and it's almost as if this is a possibility. I don't know. We're going to have to see this much further down the line in November, December of 2023. But it could be a case in the future that your crown chakra acts as a double chakra in a way that kind of goes, as it processes things, it will go into one saying, okay, that's logical for that, and that's illogical for that. And then in another time, oh, that's logical for that and illogical for that. If you know what I mean. It will act as a filter for logic, basically. It will it's like splitting your hard drive. That's what it's like between those 2 bits there. Yeah, and it's your pituitary and your pineal gland that's going to be that deciding point between the 2. And okay, now I understand the third eye and the throat chakra. As it turns within itself, it creates this knot in the middle that goes round like an eye, goes round the pituitary gland. And this is where you're going to be able to sort of see things 360. It's going to be so obvious to everybody what is going on. I try not to swear on YouTube. I try and keep it as clean as possible. I'm only telling you how I see it. That's all I'm doing. I'm telling you how I see it. You know, things will happen as they happen. Okay, let's get into our aura and see if there's anything from here. Well, there was a definite change in that there. You know, like an egg is slightly pointed at one end, right? Well, normally that pointed end goes towards, in our energy, and our aura goes towards the earth a little bit, and you have this pinch that is sort of like under your feet, as it were. That is an open energy, because that's where you sort of like you're grounding, you're flowing in and out, and that's why we get problems when we jump in planes and stuff like that. And when you pass from this life and you leave this body, that actually just that aura then just sort of closes in underneath you. So it's at the moment it's like that. I'm saying, yeah, like that. Yeah. So it looks like that. And when we pass off, then it closes in like that. It gradually pinces it all in like that into one little ball, and then is released from the body. And that's what you take with you. You don't take any memory from cells, because those memory in your cells are for the earth when you give your body back. So then the earth, because it's part of a living thing, this whole solar system is part of a living thing, the earth will then read your cells and kind of say, okay, so this animal is, or this expression of energy is living this sort of life and how it's going and everything like that. If it's good, if it's not good, but if it sort of works for the system, if it's constructive or destructive. And there, constructive or destructive, That's not good and bad either. Okay, you need a house, you need to stay warm. Like a bird will take things and make a nest. Yeah, he's not just, he's got to destroy something to take the nest, to make the nest. So is it good or bad to do that destruction? It's a question. This is what I'm saying. Good and bad is just a point of view. So, yeah, I'm just sort of saying what is sort of going on there. So we're getting back to that egg. So it's slightly rounded a bit more at the top. Normally at the bottom, sorry. So it goes out like that and goes round like that. Sort of like that, almost like a heart in a way. But that heart is being inverted, so it's getting a little bit more pinched at the top. Which may quell the consciousness within us to a very logical sort of situation. Okay? Yeah, is there any information that comes out of that? Let's have a look. It's flowing lovely. It works really nice. Okay, let's just see if there's any there is some sort of thing going on in the midsection. And this might be sort of exposing the double torus of the aura. Because imagine you've got a torus that goes up like that, and you've got a torus that goes down like that. It's like a double torus in a way, but that's more inner workings of energy. We're not going to go into that. It'd get far too complicated. Okay, so yeah, it's actually really nice. It's a really good flow. So yeah, there you go. That's how it's going to play on the energy. So what we're going to do is we're going to do an Astroflower reading for the next sort of 3 months. We're going to pull some cards for the first month, cards for the second month, and cards for the third month. Basically, there's a card already. There's cards already jumping around. What is going on? And we're going to try and get the best out of this in regards to the sort of spiritual, emotional sort of side of life and the physical sort of side of life. And there may be things that come in from outside. This might be geological events. This might be economical events and stuff like that. And we're trying to expose that and explore what's going on there. Yeah. So let's just see what's going on with the overall energy for the first month after the equinox reading. Childlike energy, absolutely brilliant. Excuse me a second. Just got to make sure that's recording, see how long I've been going. Blimey, I've been whittling on for hours, haven't I? It is a long one. Your individual readings that come out on Wednesday, Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday will not be so long. Okay? Because I'll only be doing the cards for that. Okay? So yeah, its overall energy here is learning this whole new way of interacting or exploring life and seeing how things sort of fit together. It's a new cycle for the emotional sort of side of life. So from the end of March, I would have thought going right through, particularly into the 11th of April, that sort of period, there's a change of fortunes. And this is what we've got to understand about the changing logic here. We've got to seize the moment. And that's what the karmic message is for us, to seize that change, to evolve that change of what's going on. And the universe is giving us like healing energy as we go through this. The universe, the working or the being that we're in, whatever you wish to call it, this electromagnetic universe that we're living in, and it could be, whatever you think. It could be an elephant, it could be a human, it could be something that we don't even know about. You know what I mean? But we're just in a cell within that body. That's what pretty much is going on. Okay? And that energy there is the universe, this being that we're in, is actually trying to encourage in this first month of the spring period, healing and energy within you. The devil shows up. This is how the universe, how our guides are sort of influencing us as well. See what we get out of that. This is our ancestors in a way. This is our past of how we're learning from our past. This is like the Akashic Library, which contains all the lives and information of all the lives that we've all lived over a long period of time, which gives us that hindsight. And this is where the devil's shining its light. The devil is shining its light on that Akashic Library to sort of bring a lot of things to the surface. And we've got to be very obsessive about this, about getting things out of the system and returning to logic, basically. Okay, this is how our future selves are calling on us, and they're calling on us to walk away from what is actually that fight in the playground between those kids, and walk away towards the sun, to happiness, to enjoyment, to fulfillment of actually living in harmony with everybody on this planet. Just think how amazing that would be. Put aside the fact that we live in different parts of the world that has different ecological systems, different temperatures, different ways of being, but at the end of the day, the majority of people, we're all the same. We want to be with our family and our friends and enjoy life. That is the logic. That's the majority of the thing going on. You know, and that's what we've got to walk towards. And this is where they're encouraging us to do that. Let's just see what's going on the material side of life. Okay, so it is understanding that logic in a consciousness sort of sense of that crown chakra here, and using that intuition as we go forward, using that logic to actually construct or start to perceive a new way of interaction between us. I think it's already there. I think it's really under the surface. I think most people feel it. And it's now a case of enacting that and bringing that to the surface. This is this logic again. It's that two-way thing. It's a two of pentacles, and I think this comes in from the outside world. So basically it's been presented in a way, remember I sort of said the crown chakra is splitting into two. You've got the crown chakra there, and you're splitting it into the two there, and it's becoming a stage where we've got to concentrate on what we're doing in our own lives on an individual basis. Once we start doing that, all of a sudden, you know, you will no longer be listening to the news, because it won't really matter who got down with Jane in Search for Tomorrow. Yeah, that's a Gil Scott-Heron song, by the way. Yeah, the revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not go better with Coke. Gil Scott-Heron. I met him once. Lovely man, really lovely man, genuinely lovely man, and I'm so glad I met him. I shook his hand. We were brothers from another mother. It was absolutely brilliant. I love you, Gil. You know, and the music he gave us, and the poetry, and his books. Very nice. Anyway, back to the human race. Yeah, I think here the universe is trying to elucidate that logic within our functioning between us. And this is financial and stuff like that. And I think it's going to be in this first month, it's going to bring, you know, in between the 21st of March, and it almost starts straight away. It's going to bring things to the surface that people are going to turn around and say, well, it doesn't really pan out that. We've already done that and it doesn't work, sort of scenario. Okay, this is where the hindsight comes into. This is where our guides are elucidating the information through the Akashic libraries of the past lives that we've all done. And it's the collective information. So when you finish your life, you go up to the Akashic library, you discharge your understanding of life into the library, and that gets sort of contributed to the general understanding of the human race. And this is what's going on here. And I think this is the Akashic library here is sort of turning around, sort of saying, No, it's dictating to us. Basically, hindsight in this first month is dictating to us and telling us, kind of saying, we've done this already. We've had those fights. We've encouraged those fights in the playground, and it doesn't work. So let's stop fighting. Let's start with that, or just allow them to knock hell bells out of themselves and just walk away. Just don't feed it anymore with your energy. That's what I think the thing is here. And it comes out of a logical decision that needs to be told. And it also, the two of Pentacles is also about revealing things that were once unseen within the material world. And that's what's going on with the devil as well on that side. And this clarity, this is what the universe is trying to encourage within us. This clarity of vision of how we interact with one another, or how we are imposed upon us. That's the best way of describing it. Is no longer, it just doesn't stand up. It is illogical. You know. Let's just see what we're encouraging ourselves to go towards. Justice. A logical conclusion of bringing the veil off of hidden things within the world. And that's that change of fortune as well within the spirit side. We're going to understand things so we can really grasp a real future here. A collective future, which is going to be absolutely brilliant. It really is. I think I've got a lot of optimism for the future. Huge amounts of optimism for the future. I think this is one of the best times to be alive in the human history. Because everything is just so up in the air. It's all over the place. It's really interesting. And I think there is an outcome that's going to be, wow. Do you know what? We made it. We did it. I really think there's an optimism that's coming out of this. How does it all sort of combine together? In this first month, it combines together with the Page of Pentacles. That learning process, that winning something. So it's like walking through the countryside, and you see an ear of wheat. And you take that ear of wheat, you take all the seeds, and you kind of go, right, I've now got 30 seeds in my hands. And this is what this Page of Pentacles is all about. This is the learning process that we're talking about. Of learning, of using what we have in order to sow it. Then therefore we get 30 eaves, 30 ears of corn. I'll get there in a minute. I don't know why I want to call it eaves. Could be something to do with the pole shift. 30 ears of corn, which has got 30 seeds in them each. So those are the quick maths. We're up to 900 seeds, you know, and then from that 900 and then, 27,000, just to sort of get you with the maths. So that's the sort of thing. Out of this revealing, by the end of the month, is going to come something that's going to be a way of doing things. And it's a learning process because we're going through that page as well. We've gone through that first stage of learning. We're now up to a stage of learning with what we have. Okay? That's the first month. So by the end of April, by the 21st of April, trying to get some dates out of that. I think we're talking between the 15th and the 19th of April. It's going to be a realization of this judgment. I didn't talk about the judgment card really, but this is what this is. It's that judgment. It's that judgment of logic. And that's what logic is going to sort of, do with this whole sort of scenario. Funny enough, that's what the crown chakra may look like in the future with that thing on the thing. And you're going to have that 2 stages of the crown chakra, which I was talking about earlier on. That's very interesting. Yeah, so you've got a lot of 2s. There's a lot of decisions to be made. I think financially, more than anything else, there's going to be more movement on that front than on the spiritual sort of side. I think the spiritual or the emotional sort of side is there within us, and we're just waiting for it's like the seeds in the ground, that we know the seeds are there, and we're just waiting for them to come forward. Let's just see what's going on in month 2, shall we? Let's just see what's going on in that. Oh, I'm going to put that up that way because I've got the pack upside down for a start. Lovers. 2 of them again. So out of this experimentation and everything like that, we're going to start falling in love with the new logic, I think. That's what's going to happen within this logic. This lovers sort of scenario where the overall energy is falling in, and I think this is where the excitement comes through because of this changing of the wheel of fortune for us as we walk away from something and walk towards that sunshine. I think we're going to love it being what I think we're going to be generally a lot more optimistic about the future and excited. 7 of Pentacles. It is nurturing that spiritual sort of side of life between the 21st of April and the 21st of May. Okay? And it is enjoying that sort of nurturing, gardening. A lot of people enjoy gardening. Not everybody. It's got to be said. I do enjoy gardening, nurturing plants, speaking to them, having a good old chat. You know, with trees and stuff like that. We're all in the same sort of thing. Using your consciousness. And I think the lesson here is nurturing that path towards that sunshine. Let's just see what the sun's trying to encourage us to do in regards to our sort of emotional sort of side. Yeah, they're recognizing that we're doing the work, that there is the people who've got the logic and have worked out to play, to listen to the energy logic and the natural logic, the common law logic of the world. The universe is going to be encouraging that. It's going to be recognizing the good work that we're going to be doing on a spiritual and emotional sort of sense or energetic sort of sense. And the universe is backing it up, sort of saying, we're jumping in here with our excellence as well. So it's joining forces between a lot of things. And it is, it is the recognition, of how it can work so well together. Okay? Let's just see what the, morning star, that's what's going on. Our Akashic libraries are now reminding us of our dreams and aspirations when we started that. Your dreams and aspirations when you started life, when you were born on this planet, and when you were growing up, you had your dreams and aspirations, and they may not be the same when you were a kid as what you are now. What you may find is those dreams and aspirations of when you were a kid actually start coming to the surface. Yeah, way too many there to read. And it might be a kind of like telling, do you know what? In the beginning, we had apparently we had the Garden of Eden. And then I've got a completely different take on that whole Adam and Eve story. First things first, I think if anybody came first, I think Eve came first. Yeah. And I think the story got a bit sort of turned on its head a little bit. And I think Eve was just intelligent and kind of worked out things. And Adam said, what are you doing? Don't mess around. And then, yeah, obviously, we ended up where we are today. And intelligence has a price. It has a lot of responsibility. And I think we're gaining back that responsibility. We're taking back responsibility of the future. The 3 of Swords. It might be painful to walk away. And this is where within this group here, of this month here, between the 21st of April and the 21st of May, this is where we may start realizing that there is a serious psychosis going on the general, everywhere within the human race. It's as if they've been hypnotized and they've gone a bit mad, and we're going to notice this a lot in people, and it's going to be quite shocking for everybody, and it could be quite emotionally quite hard as well, That's what they're warning us about. And I don't think we can get round it, though. That's the thing. I don't think we can get round it. But we should focus on why we're here. I think that star card there is the really important part of it. Let's just see what's going on our collective material world. 4 of Cups. Okay, this is where it's for me, the 4 of Cups is like a kid having a tantrum and kind of going, oh, come on, don't worry about it. Yeah, but I've spilt those 3 cups. And you turning up and kind of going, well, look, here's 1 cup. It's absolutely fine. If you want this cup, you're going to have to get up, stand up and start walking and progressing forward. That's what the karma lesson is on that month here. Sort of saying, come on, get your together. Get your feces together, people. And, you know, we can realise that we've been conned for a very, very long time. And within that kind of, there's no point fighting against it. It's just kind of going, okay, we've been conned. Great. Okay, let's walk away and let's construct something else and leave the people who are doing the conning. If you want to come with us, fine. Come and help us plant potatoes. We'll all have a good laugh. Make a load of chips. You know, have good fun. And I think this is what it's kind of sort of saying to people. Do not throw hissy fits. Just kind of go, okay, that's well out of order. Thank you. You're a bit weird. You're very illogical. Yeah, bye-bye. Stop. No, we're not listening to you anymore. You not have no more control. That sort of thing. Let's see what the universe is encouraging here. Ace of Wands. The universe is going to bring in something here. I will actually clarify this card as well, because there is something that is bringing to it to be revealed, and it's in the material side of the world. But look at that. On the 4 of Cups, there is that hand offering that 1 cup. And that's what we've got to understand. We've got to understand to learn to take what is logically where we should be going emotionally. But also, this is where the universe is really offering us something, that there's something coming through that's going to... I'm going to use my travel pack here to clarify it, because I want to know if it's to do with the environment or the financial side. And I got a funny feeling it's to do with the environment here. Is it to do with the environment? Learning to be our better selves. That's what's the most important thing. And reaching for a different goal. Does this come out of the environment? That's what we want to know. Ace of Cups. Well, yeah, so it seems to be coming out of an emotional backlash of what has come to the surface. Of what will come to the surface over the period of March to April. All of a sudden, we've got to walk away from that complication of that fighting and tit for tat, eye for eye, tooth for tooth sort of scenario. We've got to stop that and actually try and live and be our higher selves, which is that star card over there. And to do that, we've got to start using our energy in a very harmonious way. And that's what's coming through. And as we do, miracles will happen. And that's what that card could be there. It could be something that comes in completely out of the blue. I'm just going to actually feel the energy and see what it says here. Let me just arrange my travel pack card. Let me just see what's coming out of this here. Yeah, it seems to be like the system that we've got, which is like supply chain and everything like that, I think is going to have real problems. I think that's what's going to cause a disenfranchisement of the people in the system. It's also it's tied in with weather patterns as well, which seem to come in. But they don't seem to be the driving force behind it. It's more a case of how humans are doing this and how humans are driving the force here. And I think some of it has been manipulated and orchestrated. It appears like things are orchestrated by a certain group of people, you know. And it's the universe is almost coming in, sort of saying, ha, it's like a trump card. not like D Trump, but like a trump card that sort of like trumps the rest and kind of goes link and actually sort of breaks it through. And I think that's where the environment sort of comes in there. And it's... There seems to be like a technical thing in this as well. It's almost as if like, because the song sheet seems to be so illogical to the rest of the people, that it almost as if they're going to turn off the internet, as if to sort of say, okay, well, like, you know, and everyone will be kind of going, so what's going on? What's going on? And that's when you're going to maybe have to rely on your natural logical energy that flows through you. And this could well be the gift that comes through. It could well be like a solar storm that literally knocks out a few satellites, which creates a complication, maybe a supply chain on the information and stuff like that. That could well what it be. So it could be like a solar flare that comes out, and that could be that Queen of Cups of radiating the energy that's going through. Right, well, let's just see if it's hindsight, what's going on there, how they're... Okay, so it's that Four of Wands. That comes out with everybody, and it's been coming out loads. So the Four of Wands there is sort of saying, yeah, we've been through these changes. We've been through these portals before. And this is, it's coming to a head in everything is coming together at one time. And the natural rhythms of life are all coming together at one time. And it's recognizing that portal, basically. It's recognizing, kind of going, that logical progression of things as you go through one portal, you learn a lot and then go through another one. It's like going from primary school to senior school to college to university. I don't know, whatever system you got in your world, your part of the world, what they call it. But it's like going from one thing to another, basically. And this is between sort of April and May. And that is provoked by this sort of scenario here. Let's just see what's going on up there. Page of Pentacles. That's what's going to be. It's come through from there. It's now going to be within the advice that is coming in from our future selves, sort of saying, look, this is where you need to follow this logical progression that's going forward. I'll be wondering, it'd be mad if like the Page of Wands came up the top there, because that was the overall energy flowing through. Let's just see what happens there. Oh, Temperance. The funny thing with temperance, right? We're back to these two in a way. There's a lot of twos going on. There's a lot of decision making. You know, within the Star card there, she's pouring water onto the land and pouring water into the lake. And it's like this idea of this most fertile, and the possibilities become humongous, or not humongous, it's just multitude of possibilities. And this is what is sort of like your dreams and aspirations. But with the Temperance card is the same thing. You have this these Two of Cups sort of scenarios going on, which you have a sort of thing going on with the Lovers as well, the two on the Lovers. So it is, you know, what is that down there? There seems to be either the sun coming. This is where the, you know, following that path up to that sun there that's going on there. Is it a sun? Yes, it is a sun. I was wondering whether it was the volcano. But there seems to be a path going on to it. And that's exactly what's going on in the Eight of Wands as well. So naturally, just having patience in the process, I think, and realizing when to be active and when to be patient. So when to put your foot on the accelerator and when not to put your foot on the accelerator. The overall outcome here is where we're planting these seeds here. We're working through the process, and we've got to be patient for it to come out at the end. Let's see what's going on in the last month of this spring season for us as individuals. Collectively, we have the Seven of Pentacles, which is what's down here. There is a flow that's now starting to come up through us as well. and it's coming in from the spiritual side by the looks of things, and the emotional sort of side. It is nurturing what we have. Now it's clear to everybody by the summer, by May to June, should become clear to people, and that's what we should be nurturing. Let's just see what's going on our karmic path. The strength card, so this is nurturing this future, is also the strength card is about taming our inner doubts and stuff like that, and the way we talk ourselves down, basically. And this is obviously on the emotional sort of side, and the energy sort of side, and the spiritual sort of side. It's a way where we have to be sure and true to the logic. This is when the proof is in the pudding, people. This is what it seems like. And where the universe is invested with the three of Pentacles, we had the King of Cups. Now the King of Cups is someone who is, has a wealth of knowledge or wealth of emotions within them. Obviously, this is not gender specific, but it's the King of Cups is someone who has control over their emotions. So therefore, they tend to just sort of go on like a boat sailing gently across the seas, as it were. It's for calm sailing, and that's what the universe is trying to encourage within us. So we are in a position where we are calm and cohesive to what we're doing and where we're going. Okay, let's just see I've got the Queen of Cups now. This is a beautiful connection on this side. Everything, and this is the Queen of Cups is which we saw over here as well when we were clarifying that. The Queen of Cups is like, because she's on the sea, I think it's the Cancer card, because she's on the beach, but she's got her feet in the sea. So she's highly in touch with her emotions. And because she's in touch with her emotions, but on the land, she can spread those emotions across the land. And that's what she's doing. And it's almost as like sort of, with the understanding and the dreams and aspirations that came through in the previous month, all of a sudden we're going to be living it fully emotionally. And it's going to be a joyous experience of connecting with other people, kind of going, wow, you feel exactly the same logic as me. I was going to say the same thing. And, so this is where this logic will come alive. What's our future? The Fool. Did we not have the Fool somewhere? No, I don't think we did. The Fool. So it's taking that leap of faith and going towards those dreams and aspirations, that star sign there. As an emotional connection between us all. It's taking a leap of faith. It's turning around to the people that you've been told for all the way through your life are not the same as you, and not nice like you, and everything like that. Turning around and sort of saying, how'd you do? Pleased to meet you. Oh, you live in that part of the world. Wow, amazing. Is it not good, isn't it? Okay, well, let's try and sort it out so it is good. So everyone's in a good place. Yeah? And just meeting and greeting, I think that's what it's about, that leap of faith there. It's jumping out into, jumping off that cliff and kind of going, knowing that you're going to land on your feet and sort of saying, I have faith. I have faith in this whole sort of process that we're going through. Let's just have a look what's going on the financial sort of side. The sun, it had to come out somewhere. And that's what we started walking away towards, walking away from the old and walking towards the sun on that side. And on this side here, I think the sun is shining light on, it's not only, it's an economical sort of situation where it actually becomes the economy or money or the exchange, until we get to the point when we realise we don't actually need money, but we're a long way off from that. We're coming up to a stage where we're going to realise that we can shine a light on the way we do things, the material world, and how we exchange, how we produce things, everything like that. Is all of a sudden we're going to start saying, okay, so how does this work for everybody, rather than just how does it work for me to make loads of money? That's the change in the logic. And it's going to make everybody a lot more happier. A lot more happier. Because we're all working together and trying to encourage the evolution within the technical world so it benefits everybody that is connected to it. Because consciousness will be connected to technology at some point. Either that, or it's the end of the evolutionary process of the human being, and we just return to being animals. That is also a possibility. And you know, have you ever seen a cat, or have you ever seen an animal depressed? I have. Usually because it's in a zoo. That's probably the only time I'm going to see a depressed animal. You will see animals completely scared out of their wits because they're being chased by a lion, but that's normal. But no point in they sitting around kind of going, oh no, I hate life. They don't. They're either, you know, they're having fun one way or another, aren't they? And this is what we've got to get into it. So it's not bad being an animal, you know. But anyway, I think this is more of a case where the material system is actually going to shine a light on us. It could also be where this... I'm just getting something else coming through. Let me just get a bit of clarification on that, because I'm also getting through the sun getting active. You know, we're in a height of solar cycle as well. I think that's going to calm down by November, around that period, 2023. I think it's going to be a very shortened height cycle. You may get a bump up again in March, but it'll be a tiny bump. So it'll be called a dual solar cycle. It's waiting for the, you know, it's exchanging between the outside of the solar system and into our system here. The Justice card comes back in. A day of reckoning maybe in regards to the sun. And we get back this miracles will happen. And I think this is, like the other day, we had the Aurora Borealis that came right down to the south. A lot of people saw them in the south of the UK, in the Northern Hemisphere. And, you know, this is a sign that the magnetic field of the Earth is weakening. But the reason it's weakening is because it's going through a pole shift. I'm doing that on my sister channel, Cymatic TV. If this channel gets taken down, because it might well do, because YouTube are not really helping us at all. If it does get taken down, you'll find us on Cymatic TV. Okay, over there where I do a lot more sort of stuff on energies. That's what's sort of possibly coming through, where the sun could actually provoke a lot of changes within the human being. The Three of Pentacles again, which we had on this side here. So what started on this side, and that's when I said before, I think we really understood that change of fortune is already within us. I think it comes from the emotional sort of side and is actually filtering into the physical sort of side. This is the Three of Pentacles, is that working together and work well done. So you have different people doing different things, but actually contributing to one main thing at the end. You know, and this is where, you know, there's, you know, this is that, that whole idea that I was saying in the sun, where the material world will start working for the collective, for the greater good, really, because that's what it should be doing. And this is environmentally, this is socially, this is economically, this is physically, every aspect of it all. And that's what I think going through that portal there is about. And the universe is encouraging us to all live together. And we got justice again. It seems to be coming up. And it is a moment. I think this spring here is a lot of things where we're just going to go, and judged. Bah, well, you bring down the gavel and it's done. It's done and dusted. It's, you know, that it's a clear, from our past, we can judge things according to the logical progression of where we've been. That's what the hindsight is all about. It's done and dusted. It's in the past. We have judged. We are moved on. And that's what's happening in the latter stages of spring. And then we got the Star card, which is over here. So we've had the Three of Pentacles, which has jumped over here. We had the Star card on the second one, which has now jumped onto the third one here. As much as it's jumped from the second to the third, there is a massive progression going on here. 7 of Pentacles that then jumped onto the 7 of Pentacles on here. Absolutely brilliant, basically. Yeah, it is all of a sudden, our future is we can realise, kind of going, look, we've got all this technology. We could do amazing things now, people. We could really do amazing things. And I think that's what's coming out of the collective, out of everybody as we go forward. And it's going to come in quicker. I think it's just not going to stop. By this stage, Pluto has moved into Aquarius nicely. And I think this is going to come into the application of logical fairness within the human race, basically, and in the environment that is around us. And it is winning. It's the application of justice that is going through here, and it's also the driving force, which is that energy between the King and the Queen of Cups, driving it on to sort of saying, let's get this going, let's get this rocking and rolling. I'm going to pull one card from each of the packs just to see if we can see what's happening in the next sort of 3 months after that. So for the first month, we're going to respect the order, of course. So we'll take this first one here. So this is going in from sort of July sort of period. Little bit unknown, unseen. It could be things that come to the surface. Let's get a bit of a clarity on that. What's that all about, that unseen sort of thing? As you can see in the Chariot here, we got the white and black Sphinx. It's like the yin and the yang. And we get the same thing here with the black and white wolves. It is that sort of like, you know, sort of yin and yang. It may be the bringing in all the the energy workers, basically. Messages coming through. I think this is where energy is going to start to recognize. Maybe people are going to start seeing auras collectively. We're going to start really seeing auras. Once we start seeing auras, everything becomes incredibly logical. There is a certain degree of being helped across this sort of like passage, and the Two of Wands to sort of plan and realize that we have the world at our feet. All of a sudden, I think it's in this first month here, it's almost a case, the question is where do we go from here? Where do we go from here? Through our dreams and our aspirations. It is that full leaping into the unknown, as it were. The second month after that, look at that, 6 of Wands. Realization, coming to the end of kind of going, and we are here. We've done it. You know, and that's what's July, August. That's what that period's all about, July and August, where all of a sudden we're going to start winning. We're going to start winning. The logic is going to start winning. What's going on in the end? The Hermit. The Hermit card is the expression of oneself as well, of our understandings. And this is where people are, I think this is where people are going to realize that what we've been through in this life and many other lives, all of a sudden we're going to be able to start contributing on an individual basis to the collective that is together. And, you know, if someone knows how to do something really well, I'm going to listen to them. You know, my brother is a yacht designer. So if we need to build a yacht, the first person I'm going to listen to is my brother. I'm not going to say a word. I'm going to listen. And that's what realizing that every story or everybody has something to contribute. And it's just a case of listening to those people at the right time. And this is where the logic comes through of energy, because it will build you up. So you and say what you need to say at that moment. So it goes into the consciousness. And once it's said, you can come back, and that's contributed. We progress further. Someone else will say something. You're listening now, and you can start applying it within your life. And I think it's the fair communication between people, basically, and listening to our stories and realizing what a pathway we have been on. What a pathway we have been on. Woo! Lovely reading. Really did enjoy that. I'd like to do more of these sort of readings, actually. Really would. So, yeah. Your individual reading for the next 3 months will be coming out, and I'll only be doing the cards for that because it's going to be difficult to assess the chakras and aura over long periods of time as an individual basis, simply because your energies are so interactive with what's going on around you, emotionally, physically, and what have you, that it changes constantly. So it'd be very difficult to get a. I wouldn't want to sort of like do you wrong by telling you something that I'm not 100% sure about, or that I don't feel 100% sure about. So it's only going to be about the cards. Similar sort of situation here. Got the fixed on Monday, mutables on Tuesday, cardinals on Wednesday, and then obviously you've got your weeklies after that. Okay. So yeah, thank you so much for the support that you give us on this channel, for subscribing, clicking that bell. Glad you enjoyed the journey. Glad you've been with us all the way through. Yeah, life should be fun. Even when it's difficult, life should be fun. And you'll look back in future and you're kind of going, weren't that was crazy days. We were doing really stupid things. So don't forget, do enjoy life, because life should be fun.